Alrighty, Doc here from North America. It is Tuesday already for us. It's a long 3-day weekend, and it was an interesting market yesterday in the electronic market. The markets were holding up. The equity markets were doing fine. Interest rates were relatively flat, and then we saw the currencies look firm. I guess that's the best way to describe it. They looked firm. But then they started to back off again this morning. We'll see, how that plays out over. We said that the next 2 days could be very interesting in the sense of what kind of action we really get, with the market the way it is at this point in time. This was a good bounce last week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up over 2,000 points. Pretty much almost all three major indexes here in the United States were up over 6%. That's pretty much what it came down to. But measuring it in the Dow terms, the old grand index of itself, one of the first true indexes in history, the Dow Transportation Index and then the Dow Industrial Index were created many, over 100 and some odd years ago, 150 years ago. So it's kind of interesting to watch them, and at the same time, you see that they had a great bounce last week, and everybody joined in with them, like the S&P and the Tech 100 and so forth. And the dollar, as you can see here, we're on J4X. You can see the dollar is firming up a little bit here. You can see that right there. And you see it's been trying to firm up for literally most of last week, and you can see it kind of stalled out. You can see the weekly is trying to drive down after all this time. Finally, it's trying to get underneath the zero line. And let's see right there, yeah, that's it. And you can see the daily is trying now to turn up after being in a sell from this top here. So we're into the summer months. In our head, the official summer begins here in the northern hemisphere in June 22nd, I think it is, or June 21st. So, we still have about 3+ weeks, and we'll see how they get rolling along. Oh, let's go check the chat line at the same time. There it is. Make sure everything is working. There we go. So I can hear my voice. Can I hear my voice? I think I hear my voice. Yes. So overall, the marketplace is very, very steady, and it's been strong. And today we're starting to press down a little bit. The Dow Jones is down. I guess nothing major, down about 150 points. We figured it would fall back somewhere around 500-600 points, something like that, from last week's top, and then we'll see how it builds a base in there and starts to lift. When it comes to the S&P 500, we can see the S&P 500 is down 27 points, and the Tech 100, which is kind of noisy, it's down 47 points, 45 points as we speak. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. The fair value is minus 51, so that's not bad at all. So it's actually up a little bit. And interest rates are, just kind of moseying along just a little bit more higher today than they were last week. Interest rates had gotten down to the point where they were the 30-year U.S. bond was in the 2.9s, and now we're back up to almost 3.01. So just a little movement here, nothing major, and everything seems to be steady. Now the energy sector is feeling a little pain because I guess the Europeans are doing something with the Russian oil again, so it kind of mixes up the supply structure, and then what happens is that it drives some prices up or down depending on the way it works. In this case here, it works on the upside. So we've seen oil here in the States run to about 119 at one point during the trading day from the European Open. And we've seen Brent up into the 122s, and that's pretty much what we figured would be the top end of the range, minus obviously some new news or new new activity, something that would kind of shake it up. But right now we're not seeing any real shaking up, so that's pretty cool. Now jumping over to let's see, the metals complex. We see gold, like usual, just kind of moseying along in a weekly sell still. It can't seem to get out of its own way. We'll show you what it looks like right there. There it is right there. Still, oh, that's right, it did. It closed in a weekly buy last week. I forgot all about that. It's been a 3-day weekend. So it did jump in there, but we're still in a daily sell. That's what it is. We're feeling that pressure. And now we are back underneath right there again. So this drive to get going, went into the buy here, and couldn't really get the weekly to flip. By the time they get it to flip, it breaks down again. A lot to be said about that, but I guess the best answer to it all was I was a trader. One of the old traders sent me something this morning. Somebody's, who is it? Let me see if I can find it. I thought it was kind of interesting. Right there, yeah, that's it. Is that it? No, Miracle Hydrogen. No, we'll find it. It's in the trash can already. But it's well worth repeating here, and that is Goldfields addresses growth and buys $6.7 billion of all share bid for Yamana Gold in Canada. So let's see if I can show it to you. Here it is, right there. So Goldfields addresses growth. How can they grow? Yamana Gold up in Canada is being bought. That seems to be the recipe of it all. I mean, I know what it was. My response back was, undervalued, as we talk about here. Metals market undervalued, and great times to step up and buy. That would make sense to me. And so that's the probably like the best. That's the best thing of it all, is that. I know what else I called it. The Fed-led bear market. So it's a perfect time, since it's down solely because the Fed is pushing it down. Now, speaking of the Fed, what was it? The Fed is going to be, what was it? So the Fed chair is going to the White House today out of nowhere, and at the same time there was this articles put into some of the major newspapers from the White House, supposedly a Biden opinion article. Wow, that's really hard to believe, but anyway, they put it in there, and it says that we have one of the best economies we've ever had, and that Joe is doing a great job. And then he's inviting the Fed chair at the same time to the White House. So can't wait to see how this particular dance plays out. This should be interesting. I mean, that should be really interesting. You can't make these things up. They come up with some of the weirdest things ever. But that's it right there. That's what it comes down to. So we can't wait to see how that plays out. That's going to be this afternoon, probably towards the end of the day. Hey, Robin. Hey, Jordan. Yeah. So Mr. Biden will be talking with Mr. Powell. Can't wait to see how that story completes itself. All right, let's get over to the currencies and see again what's going on here. Let's check it out. There's the Swiss. And if anybody wants to see any particular pairs trade or any particular product, just throw it up on the chat line. We'll go take a look at it. And as you can see right there, the Swiss is moving back up a little bit in here, just as we start to dance with the weekly sell. And same thing is going on over here on J4X. You see the daily going down. It's trying to get, just like us, trying to get up through the zero line and starting to show some life here. All right, now heading over to the euro. Right, see, where's it at? Right there. The euro trying to step down, and we're seeing that same action over on the Chicago quant. Right there. You see, was flirting with it yesterday, and just as we start to lift up into the weekly buy, we've got this product now driving itself back down again. So there's pressure there. Like I said to Janos yesterday and everybody here, we have to watch and see the next couple of days how this market will play itself out just between today and tomorrow, because the Americans are now back into the market. I don't think this is like the bottom of it. This is not like a V bottom at the moment. I think this could be a bounce on some level, but I don't, I think it'll have to, we'll see how it back and fills. So at this point in time, the Dow's down 247 points. We're only looking for like a 600 point back off. So we're almost 50% down already from where we thought it might go back down to yesterday. The markets were up in the electronic market yesterday. They just started selling it in between the London Open, Swiss Open, and so forth, and the American Open. They started putting pressure on it. Okay, over on there we go to the cable. See what the cable's doing right there. Same situation, trying to roll over a little bit, seeing some pressure developing. It's had a nice move from the 121 up to the 126. Right there. We went into the daily buy in the 122s, the high 122s here, and now we are flirting today with getting underneath the sell line. Unfortunately, throughout that whole move, it was just a derivative trade more than it was a hard delta trade. If that sounds a little complicated, that's okay. I can explain either one of them. If anybody wants to say explain, I will explain. You don't have to say you don't have to ask anything more than explain. Just put an E in there in the chat line, and we'll explain the difference between a derivatives trade versus a hard delta trade. The underlining is the hard delta. From the British pound, the weakness is just another digestion of that move, I'd assume. And so from there we go over to the Turkish lira, which was a real surprise at that punch. And we've heard some stories, but it hasn't really been clarified exactly why they started to now out of nowhere just start driving this. So I'm not sure if it was Mr. Aragon giving issues to Sweden and Finland, or anything's possible. And this is just, look, we know that the U.S. Federal Reserve walks softly and carries a big stick. Makes everybody, dance to their tune, I guess you could say. That's why we see the gold market totally out of whack. Interesting. So that's really where we come down to. The euro Turkish lira pairs trade has really started to lift up, and we're a little surprised about that, and it's outside its range finally after all that noise of inflation and problems. The war, nothing seemed to be able to knock it out of its range, but something has happened. Mr. Aragon has changed some policy somewhere, and we just haven't heard about it yet, but our math has picked it up very easily. You can see here we went into a buy down here in the where's that, in the 1564 area, and it's trading at the 1771 area. 2 full points. What's that, 200 handles or something like that? But and the result is that we are now just flirting with the sell. Now we've been in the weekly buy for a good slice of it. And then when we go and look at the dollar pairs trade against the Turkish lira, you can see that refuses to let go altogether. It's been in a weekly buy since back in February. It doesn't trust it. And you can see here that buy went in here, and that was a full ride for a change. The euro, the euro itself is usually the better of the two currency pairs to follow when looking at the Turkish lira. But this particular one, that has bothered me for a while, where the weekly in the dollar refuses to give up. It just keeps on finding ways to be long, and that's really odd in many ways. So here we are. They knew that they were going to sit on it one way or the other. Somebody knew. Euro yen intraday chart. Which one? You want that? What is it? That 3-day one we watch? Let's check it out. Let's see. There's the euro yen. Let's see. Where is it at? I know we have it in here somewhere. Euro yen. Did we turn it into? Oh, I see. Someone wanted to see a 2-hour GBP, so we did that. Let's fix that. Oh no, I like that too much. It's got lines that we wanted to pay attention to. I don't remember what they were, but we'll create one for you. Oh, no, we have one right there. There it is. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. There's the 5-minute euro yen. We'll put the symbol in. Right there. Let's add a little more time to it. Make it 2 days. There we are. And there's the euro yen intraday. It's a 5-minute. Let's see. It tried to go into a sell a couple bars back, seemed to fail at it, and now it's playing with a volatility signal. It's not as active as the dollar yen one, but it does seem to be showing us the weakness. Let's check out a 2-minute one. Don't you follow? I think you follow a 2-minute one too, right? So we'll go check out the 2-minute one. See how that looks. I know you follow the 5-minute, but once in a while I think you look at the 2-minute. So let's just see which one. I mean, obviously the 2-minute is going to be much more accurate because it's just shorter term. Let's see. There we go. So that went into the buy there. Stayed in the buy because that's a plus. Stayed in the buy all through that. Did that get in the sell there? Maybe that did. Nope, still stayed in the buy. Is it a buy all the way up till here? This one maybe? Yeah, so it went into a sell there for, what's that, 8 minutes? And jumped back into the buy. Made another high. Then went into a sell here. Let's see, not there. This one right there. And that was still in a sell all the way to right there. Right there. You see the strength came in. So you knew to try to cover that. Yeah, that's probably the better one to pay attention to. The 2-minute one. Euro yen. Let's see if we can get that up on here. There. Why don't I see that? Euro yen. JPY. I want to see what it looks like on J4X. Oh. Where is it? It's so hard to believe we don't have that in there. Let's try that again. EUR slash. No, not slash. That's why. JPY. There it is. Now let's take a look at it on a 2-minute. There it is right there. You see it turned up into the buy right there. I guess that would be the buy. Then it sold off again. But the line stayed above, so you knew not to go short. You might have gotten out if you had a profit. And you can see it's turned back up again. And that one's the winner chicken dinner. And then there's a winner chicken dinner there too. And there it is. There's the 2 minute. Now, what's it? Just because you're there, let's go take a look at the dollar euro. Dollar yen. Yeah, look at that. I noticed that on was it Friday? It tried to get into the buy, and then last 2 days have been firm. It went into the weekly sell last week. We can put that line in after that fantastic run it had. And then let's get rid of that. There we are. Now it's just sitting there flirting still underneath. We'll see how much gets that going at the same time. Interesting. Yep, and so that's the action in the yen. Yen has definitely been playing this thing out very interestingly. All right. Anything else, Jordan? If not, we will go back to where were we at? We were looking at Turkish lira. I think we can kind of complete that, the Turkish lira. We're not sure what's beating it up, but one thing's for sure, Mr. Aragon has changed something of the magic or the combination. Here is the Canadian. And that's, you see there on the Canada, and let's put it up on J4X. Where's it at? Right there. And there's the daily. You see that pressure that's been on it. It's been staying in a sell. And now the weekly has driven into the sell. And that's usually indicative of the energy market in whole. I mean, one thing's for sure is that when energy costs go up, Canada makes money, and it usually outperforms the U.S. dollar. That's the norm. Not every time, but that's just part of the characteristic. And that seems to be the recipe right now. That's what we're recognizing. So, let's see. From there, we can take a quick look at the energy and the gold. So there is crude oil marching steadily up, still in that long weekly buy now for 4, 5, 6, 7, going on an 8th week. It's at the further end of the range. We figured it would get up to like 119 or 120 again. It seems to have gotten there now. And then from there, let's see, what other one can we take a look at? Let's take a look at gold. There's gold. Gold's in the weekly buy. Now it's playing with its weekly sell and has stayed in a daily sell. So that Fed bear market support, I guess you could say it's short a call. As much as they say the Fed gives out free puts, in the case of gold, they sell calls. They drive that thing down. They don't lift it up, that's for sure. That is the odd part about the market in general. We talked about that yesterday. You want to listen to an interesting point of view about, and backed by successful math, about the marketplace and safe haven. We looked at the cryptos, and we looked at gold and silver, and we talked about the war, the central, I call it the Central European War now. That's what it is. It's the largest European country at war with the old, was it the Russian Federation, and everybody is playing on it on some level or another. Almost all the NATO countries are supporting the Ukraine, and that's the whole process of it all in the end. So Euro intraday chart, we looked at that. 2 minute we looked at. Yeah, thanks. All cheers. All cheers to you. Glad to come up with something that's good. So then, let's see where we at. So from there, we look at, what do we look at? We look at, since we see gold going down, losing value against the dollar, we have to assume when we go over to the South African Rand that it is finding a way to lift up. We'll see. Maybe the weekly is helping it a little bit. We'll see in a few seconds here when we find it. There it is right there. And there it is. Okay. Yeah, it's lifting up. You can see that right there. It's lifting up. See how it looks over here on J4X. So, you know, oil going down. I mean, oil going up in price. You know, Canadian dollar outperforming dollar, U.S. dollar, and here we have the South African Rand underperforming. You know, in other words, losing against the dollar there. It had been a nice little glide path down while we were in a buy in the gold market. With that move on the upside, put pressure on the South African Rand. Is that right? Yeah. Doesn't look too good on the J4X, does it? Where's it at? Let me just go back to it again. Here. Oh, that's where it is, right there. Oh, okay, and okay, there it is. So that glide path has been really pressing down now for, what is it, like 12 weeks, 12 days or something like that. And you can see that same thing. We had that nice little pop, and now it's gliding down like here. And unfortunately, the bear market generated by the Fed in metals will not give up. They will keep it that way until they're out of power. It seems to be the, you know, and when will they lose power? I don't know, possibly in the next 6 months. So for the gold players, notice that's there are two now acquisitions, or in other words, companies buying AMC theaters, floated stock, and turned around and took that money and bought a mining company. And so they're like a very large silver mining company now. Same thing with you know, one of the major major gold companies, as we showed you a few minutes ago, is doing the same thing, stepping up and buying another gold company. So these are the times that maybe gold traders and investors are going to be rewarded going into the next 9, 10, 11 months, something like that. So hang tight in there, gold traders. All right. From there, we go to the currency that will not be named right there. And you can see it's popped up into a buy, and now it's rolling over again. We're back in the weekly buy for the last couple of weeks. Took a while to get it up there, but it did. It finally joined in again. And whereas when it went into the daily buy this time, it was going nowhere until it went into the sell, and then it dropped off, and now we're back in a daily buy and a weekly buy, and it's showed some life in it. We'll see if it lifts up into the 80s again. Very impressive that it went down to 55. That is a real, you know, we were looking for 49 overall, and it got down to 55, so that's kind of impressive. You know, once we got into this sell here, we were looking for that 49. So I only missed it by about 6 points. Interesting. All right, from there we did look at yen, but we can take a quick look again. There it is. And we'll see when this gets back into the weekly and if they go after another 20-some-odd year high. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. We'll just follow the math. Then from there, last but not least, we zip into the Mexican peso. Do 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 do. Right there, Mexican peso. La 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 la. Mexican peso, where are you? There we go. And there the pressure is on in that product, still pressing down. But at the notice over here, it's trying to get back up to the range. We'll see if that plays itself out in that direction. We've been in the weekly sell and the daily sell throughout this whole ride. Does it follow? I mean, there are some products that love the math. I mean, more than others. And maybe it's the lack of continuity in some of those products, or maybe they're just that busy. There's a lot of supply. A lot of this is just supply and demand. That's what our math recognizes. It always recognizes the price action of the underlying product without volume. That's the thing, is we follow price action and the supply and demand through price action, not volume whatsoever. And you can see the math is way more accurate. So you see here the Mexican peso dropped below. Finally, the Canadian and the Mexican peso did a really fine job of not leaving their ranges throughout the whole 3 months of the Central European War. And now that they've gotten past, things seem to be, calming down on some level. Not the war. I'm sure that they're still fighting for their lives, of course. But just overall, things have calmed down in the sense that people are just not as paranoid. When Mr. Putin says, I think I'll nuke you, they don't even seem to pay attention to it anymore. So, with the Central European War going on, the Mexican peso and the Canadian seem to be the most stable of pairs trades. But here we finally see the Mexican peso falling below, which means that it's gaining against the dollar. In other words, the dollar is weakening against it in that situation there. And that's what we see. We see the Mexican peso trying to bounce back up inside that range. And we'll see. We'll watch, see how the math acts. And usually it keeps you in an honest position. Like it went when it went into the weekly sell here. Right there. But we were in a daily buy, so it was a neutral position. Well, I guess there was a little win there if you took the trade here, because it had been in a sell there. And then it goes into a buy. And again, if you're trading option derivatives or binaries, it's okay to play the long side. But if you're just trading the underlying product or the hard delta, it's a much higher risk. And you can see it popped up, but without a weekly, that makes you don't really want to go after these things. But it did. It went up to the top of the range, and then we get back we're into a daily sell. It has this fantastic win there, and then it warns you that there's buying pressure right there, and then it goes into the sell again, and then it warns you again that there's buying pressure there, and that was a nice little pop, and it goes into the weekly buy. Basically at the top of this move, hits the 50 percentile area, and then you can see, they break it down, gives it a sell there, and it does break down for a couple of days, nothing major, and back into the buy, and we're in a buy, and it gives you a little win there, nothing major there either, and then it gets into the sell right there, and goes into a weekly sell, and with the two together, it's a yip yip and yowee, it's a goodie, it's a winner chicken dinner. And then from there, that's pretty much what it's written. That's it. So I guess at this point in time, it seems like we're going to start seeing more anticipation on the politics side. Here we are in June, starting tomorrow. That means that June, July, August, and September, and October, we're 5 months away from the election. And let's see, so all of June, all of July, all of August, all of September, and all of October. And then the first week of November is the election. So you have 5 full months, and Mr. Biden is polling this morning 47 of the 50 states now say he's not doing a good job. A majority of the people in those states say it. We won't meddle with the Fed practical steps. Okay, so he's outlining what he's going to talk about with the with Biden details inflation plan in Wall Street Journal op-ed. So this is going to be interesting. I don't know. It's like walking into a door, and he's going to get hit in the head or something. I don't know. Let's see. They're still talking about it, but I wonder what they're saying. Okay, so yeah, the way they look at it with Mr. Powell is that they're thinking that he's going to raise rates for the next 2 times, and then in September, pause. So that's another full percentage point. So we'll get up to like 1 3/4. And the 30-year bond is trading at 3. So obviously they're not that worried. And so then Mr. Biden has to deal with the inflation side of it. He'll just blame the Central European War. And once he uses the European Central War as an excuse, he pretends in his head that he doesn't have to take responsibility for it. Probably that's why he's plowing in so much money into the war itself. I mean, they've put over $50 billion now into the Ukraine. So obviously it's a way of blaming Putin. They can say, well, look, we had to spend $50 billion to straighten that out so we can kill your inflation. I mean, that's pretty much the whole circus act of it all. And so there is that circus act. That's the only way to describe it. Wow. Okay. Oh. Just did something wrong here. Let's see if we can fix that. But what's really happening at this point in time is that people are starting to think that the change could be very positive. And so you got to imagine that the markets are going to, like they always do, they like to trade on rumor and react or sell or buy on news depending on what it is. So in the end, we're going to be watching this whole game for the next 24 hours, going into Thursday basically at this point, and see if it comes down and tests, see what Mr. Biden does to Mr. Powell. I don't know what they could say, but I mean, honestly, what could they say? I mean, there's, we're going to, they're just going to say the same things they've been saying, except for now they're going to do it like an official meeting. And he can say, oh, see, I'm helping things out. Maybe, I don't know. You just shake your head at the decision-making process of this administration. All right, from there we jump over to the energies. Let's check out the energies there again. Oh, we'll take a look at the metals first. There you go. So there's gold. Gold's moving down. Let's throw silver up there. Silver is trying to get into the sell. It's still in that weekly sell now for, what was that, 7 full weeks? This is the 8th week. Let's see, right there we go. And you see that big red candle in the daily driving down. Let's see, where's the math? Right there. See the green line's been underneath the dash line for almost this whole move up. There's been a lot of pressure on this product. I'm still astonished that it's even below $24.55 or $25. you're looking at silver trading at 60 some odd percent below its all-time high. This Fed-driven bear market in the metals complex doesn't seem to go away. And we'll find out after the next election in 5-6 months if we're going to start to see a bull market in the metals complex when they take control. It depends on how much control they get. If they get, now there's talk of 35 seats. I think that they're going to get like 65 seats, maybe even 70 seats. They may get a veto-proof majority. I don't know. We'll see. But in the end result is if they get that veto-proof majority, then it could be a real bull market in the metals complex because they'll stop. They will force the Fed to start acting more responsible. I think that's really what it comes down to. All right, from there, take a look at copper. There's copper. You see copper is trying to lift up. The weekly is trying to lift up right there. Because it's been in the sell since up in here. Rode all the way down, got into a daily buy, and then I guess I should go. That seems to be wrong. And get rid of that altogether. There you are. And so then it went into the sell right there. And turn the machine off. Things get pushed around sometimes. And then you can see it's trying to lift up in here. We got the weekly trying to lift up. See how it looks over on J4X. Not cotton. Yeah. There we are. Yeah, they just mentioned it. Can you believe that? Climate control people or climate something or another threw cake on the Mona Lisa at the Louvre. Crazy people. All right. You see copper trying to lift up. And you can see there the strength in copper coming off the $4 area, and we've gotten up to 430 and change now, 435. And we were in a weekly sell through, all that glide down, and now we are starting to finally turn up after moving up 20 some odd cents. Lots of daily buy going on. This has been real choppy, noisy. Rarely ever see that. 2 red dots. I don't even know what that's all about. That is wild. It's like over-exhausted selling. I don't know. I don't think I haven't seen that in 7 months. 2 red dots. All right, from there we jump over to the platinum. Let's see what the platinum's doing. There it is right there, July platinum. It closed in the weekly buy last week. I think the week before just missed it by like 0.68 cents, under $1. But we are back into the weekly buy. We really think this a lot of times tries to lead it, but it's really hard for anything to lead when the Federal Reserve tries to constantly support a bear market in the metals complex. All right, from there we drift over to the energies. We'll take a look at crude oil. Let's take a look at Brent North Sea right there. The high is up around the 21 area or something like that. I thought I saw it at 22 at one point. And then over here, let's put up the crude oil. I think it's in a 118 still. Yeah, almost there. It's 119's last tick. Even. 119 even. So front month West Texas is trading almost at parity with Brent. I guess that means there's a bigger supply and demand issue going on here in the States. Maybe Biden's offered to send oil over to them. We don't even know. Sometimes he pulls these shenanigans and then we find it. And then they have to sue him and then he loses because it's against the Constitution. But, as president, he gets a chance to get things done, even if they're bad, for at least a short period of time. And then we try to stop them. Just like our border situation. let's take a look at it on the back month, the October contract. There it is there. Almost 110. So what is that? That's $9 contango. So it's trading at almost 110. It's 109.80 something. And spot is trading at 119. So basically it's almost a little better than $9 contango. So they're discounting the back month. And they've been discounting it. Just because of the cost to carry the interest rate itself. What is this? Yes, indeed. Then we shoot over to natural gas. Let's see what nat gas is doing. Right there. And you see, we were waiting to see if it's going to try to climb into the buy. 2 days of red and green, red and green. And this thing was breaking down again. We'll see. Always fascinating. Follow the math. In this case here, our daily sell is telling us to be careful. Don't be long on a short-term basis. The weekly is rolling over through the time manifold, telling us basically the same story. Saying, be cautious. We're getting into a sell. We're heading for a sell. Let's put nat gas over here. There you go. You can see that. Same thing, same pressure. And at the same time, J4X is reminding us that this thing has had a nice run there. And it's trying to roll over here. That's why the green line is below the dashed line here. Now from there, we'll take a look at European natural gas. It's been playing with the 28s. Let's see if we're back underneath 28s, back into the 27s. There it is. Nope, we're still in the 28s. So the pressure is on there, but you can see on J4X, this thing is bouncing around the top end of the range right there. The volume seems to have calmed down, and there's just not a lot of push and shove going on when it comes to the nat gas. I guess you can only do so much. I think it was admirable to try to do something with the Russian Federation. They were suggesting that they wanted to be civil. I think that ignoring Azerbaijan or something like that, and ignoring the Georgian and the Chechenian situations that they've done was a mistake by the European Union in the end. Just because they didn't bomb Central Europe like they're doing now, gave them confidence they could do something like that. And here we are, a war in Central Europe with everybody there to play. And that is a warning sign, obviously. So now I guess the European Union itself is going to try to back its way out of being connected to the Russian Federation on a business level. And that's unfortunate, but that's what it's all about in the end. I guess they have to really, we used to say, don't tell me you love me, show me that you love me. And that's probably the real answer of it. We need to see the Russian Federation do something much more positive, more responsive. Watch the Russian Federation be more civil, I guess, give the population more freedom. It needs to do a lot of different things to make everybody feel healthy. Good morning, Carlos. Welcome. So that's where we stand this morning. We're just sitting there, just watching this slow, steady car crash. All right. That finishes off the energy sector. Now, Carlos, if you care to see anything, just shout it out. We'll take a look. Directo, the Brazil. Let's check out the Brazil. We have that. Let's see. Do we have it? We have it on here. We don't have the currency, but we have that stock indice. Let's see, where's it at? We'll make this bigger, and you'll be able to see how it acted through it all. Where is it at? Here we come. This is the thing that trades on the exchange here in the United States. It's a fund, and I guess when you buy it, you're short Brazilian reals, because, or maybe it's based in dollars. I don't know, but they say that to follow the Brazilian, where's it at? Right there. To follow Brazilian currency, you follow this ETF, the EWZ. Let's put that in there. EWZ. There we are. Right there. You can see that right there. It's been a nice bounce. Went into the buy right there. Went into a sell here. A couple days in a sell. Went back into the buy here. Wasn't a weekly sell from here, I guess it is. So let's take some of these and move them out of the way. So we go like that. We went into the daily sell there. Went into the weekly sell here. There we are. So caught that ride all the way down to there. Then it went back into the sell there, kind of at the tail end of the game there. Another nice little trade, but nothing major. And then it goes into a buy here, so you know not to be short throughout that whole move. You get a sell here, but it goes the wrong way, and you give up some of your profits you made over here. And then gets back into the buy, and has been holding up ever since. You just check the indicator. Yeah, it's fine. So that's the Brazilian product that we have here in the States that we can keep an eye on and have a general idea of how the currency is doing. What a long run buy that was. Look at that. Went into the buy here. And let's see, then went into the sell there. Back into a buy here for another win. That was 2 wins. Went into a sell there. Goes into a buy here, 3 wins. Goes into a buy here, you get a loss out of it. Finally, after 3 wins, 1 loss. And then 4 wins and 1 loss. Then, again, 4 wins, 2 losses, but they're very little losses. Then a massive buy. So, what was that? 6 and, let's count these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buys and 5 wins. So that's pretty good. So 7 and 2 out of that whole long buy thing. And then finally another buy signal at the top, which is a small win. Then a buy, a half decent little small win. And then another buy and no win. So that's like 10 and 4, something like that. 10 and 3, 10 wins, 4 losses, 3 losses. Kind of out of the whack of the 8.5 out of 10. But that's an interesting product, and it's based off of the stocks in Brazil itself. So that has been a very interesting. Unfortunately, I understand why we can't get that currency at all. Ducascopy doesn't seem to have it. We don't have it. I don't understand what the issue is. Why? It seems. I understand that Brazil is I think the second largest producer of soybeans. You would imagine that they would be able to have a very solid currency just for that reason alone. You would think that they, between the soybeans and the wheat and the corn and so forth, the commodities down there, you would think that their currency would be much more active, but obviously it's not, which is kind of odd. The Brazilian real. I don't understand any of that. Maybe they're in such debt. I know that that World Cup that was the World Cup or was it the Olympics? Did they have the Olympics or did they have the World Cup? I guess they had the World Cup, right? And it was fraught with all kinds of problems. So maybe that's what put the pressure on the currency. I don't know. Anybody ever have an opinion on that? Just chat it out on the old chat line there. But anyway, let's finish it off with looking at the stock indices. All right, right there, you can see, let's close that too. There we go. And there is the S&P 500. It's down for the moment, but it's been firm for days. Now we're flirting with the weekly buy. There's the Tech 100, same situation, been in a buy for, so that this is the 5th day, and flirting with the weekly buy also. And then over here on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you can see here, same situation. In a daily buy for a bunch of days and flirting with its weekly buy. All right. All right, traders, we will catch you all tomorrow on the hump day. It's the Wednesday already. So everybody have a safe and smart trading day. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, later, traders.